And here we have the NLoFin ETO1. Comes in a really nice box. Let's open this up and see what we got. It comes with a nice braided USB to USB-C cable, a switch puller, and a tool to open your case and replace your switches. All right, let's get this out the way. And here we have the NLoFin ETO1. So let's go around this pad. So when we look at the bottom, there's nothing on the bottom. We look at the right, there's nothing on the right. We look at the top, there's our light switch for our base lights, our pass-through port, and a power port on the top. And on the left-hand side, there is your power port. When we go across the body, we have all small buttons across the body and one large here on the bottom. We have these really nice soft touch activation home row, and we have our large screen up top with our logo on the bottom. And here I have the cable manager that I put on all my controllers. I'll put a link in the description. But here is the NLoFin ETO1. It's really nice. It's nice and cold and premium metal. I went with the yellow color. And when I flip the pad over, you have a nice, clear, thick base. And I have my grip tape here, and it looks really nice in person. And this controller comes stock with Gateron red switches. These switches are actually pretty nice. Compared to a Kailh Red, they're a little snappier, a little smoother. They feel really nice when you're playing with them. If you're the type of player that likes to slide as you play, the way these keycaps are made and the height of this case, they slide so smooth and so easy. This is definitely in my top 5 for sliding controllers. It's very easy to do and very nice to play on. The spacing again are the small keycaps and tighter spacing. So if you like that feel, you're gonna feel right at home with this controller compared to other brands. They also offer aluminum keycaps. So if you want a nice cold to the touch feeling, you can add the aluminum. They feel very similar to the stock. They are ever so slightly heavier, but you really won't notice them play. If you mash, you will feel these hit bottom a little bit sooner. So when you're mashing and hitting pretty hard, you will feel these and hear these. But again, in use, they both play really nice. They're the same shape. They're easy to slide on and they work really great. So during my testing, this controller can be a little loud. The Gateron red switches work great. The controller feels premium and nice, but the way everything's put together, it is kind of loud. So to get rid of that, what's nice about this controller is you can put Gaterons or Kailh V2 switches on here. And that's perfect because I'm a big fan of the Kailh V2 low profile switches. So I tested the Ghost switches and the Deep Sea Islet silent switches, and both worked great. They both took the noise way down and played really snappy and smooth. In the end, I ended up going with the Deep Sea Islet silent switches, and now this controller feels really silent and snappy, and I really like it. Getting your keycaps off can be a bit of a challenge because the case sits higher, but taking your time and wedging on the side, you'll be able to get that out nice and smooth. And they do give you the tool to open the case. As a last resort, don't stress trying to get them off. Just take the case apart, pull the switches out, and put it right back together. And next we have the paper test. So what is a paper test? We take a standard piece of American printed paper, this is 8.5 by 11. When you turn it sideways, you can see this controller is the same width as a piece of paper turned sideways and not as tall by one adapter in the metal head of an adapter. So how do you connect to your console? On Xbox, you can use the Mayflash Magic X, the Brooks XB3. On PlayStation, you'll use the Magic S Ultimate, the Brook Wingman FGC1, or the Brook Wingman FGC2. To make this work, connect your power to the side or the top, take your adapter, connect to the end of the cord, connect to your console, press home, press start, and you're all set. This controller does have a pass-through port, but out the box, it is not turned on. And once that is turned on, you can use a booter. Xbox, you'll use the Mayflash MagicBoot. PS5, you'll use your larger booter, the Mayflash MagicBoot, or the Hot 42 COSMOX Booter 5. With these adapters, you'll put it in the Xbox or PlayStation mode, connect your booter, press home, press start, and it'll be good to go. Again, these booters will not work out the box. The port is turned off. Out the box, it'll be in X input mode. The adapters will be at the end of the cord and you'll be all set. So things you will notice out the box, the home row is not mapped to what they're labeled as. So when you try to get to the web config and you hold start, connect, plug your controller to the console, it will not get into web config mode. But if you hold each button, try the next one, you will find which button is your S2 start button. And I recommend going in and remapping all your buttons, and that way it is mapped as it's labeled and the rest are mapped as you expect them to be using the pin viewer. The pass-through port is not turned on out the box, so you will have to use this controller at the end of the cord to make it activate in X input mode, but I do have a way to turn that back on, turn this on, as well as reset all the buttons. To enable the pass-through port and configure the home row, if you do not feel comfortable, do not follow these steps, just watch. To enable the pass-through port, you'll want to go to the web configurator by holding start on your controller and connect to your PC, Mac, or Linux device. If you look at your screen, you'll see a website address. When you go to that address, 192.168.7.1, you'll land on this home screen. You're going to click on configuration, go to peripheral mapping. At the very bottom, you'll see USB 0. Turn this on and set your pin from unset to 26. Enable 5V is unset, and then your GPIO pin order is D+, D-, -0. Click Save, And the next thing you want to do is go to Settings, under Input Mode, change to PS5. Where it says Authentication Settings, make sure you change this to Host USB. This will enable your PS5 and your Xbox One booter devices through your pass-through port. Click Save. Out the box, you will need to come into the pin mapper and remap your home row. Go to Configuration, go to Pin Mapping, and again, use the pin viewer to map your home, start, and your top row of your controller. And here is what you need to map. Then you'll be all set and ready to play. Click Reboot, say Controller, and you're all set. Another great feature on this pad, it is running the stock Pico firmware. So if you go to Google and type in GP2040 releases, click on the first link, that'll bring you to all the GP2040 releases. Click on the latest release version, and when you go all the way down to the bottom, you need two files, the flash nuke file and the Pico firmware file. Once you flash nuke and load the latest firmware, you will have to go back into the web configurator to enable the pass-through port and reset your home row and enable your PS5 and Xbox booter, but you will be all set. You will have the latest version of GP2040 CE and all the features that come with it. And again, if you do not feel comfortable downloading the latest firmware, you can still follow these steps using the controller out the box. So here we have the DOIO Hitad Standard. When we compare the size, you can see this controller is taller by 3 adapters, and they are the exact same width. So if you're on the fence between these two, they both have their home row across the top. They both have small buttons across the whole body and one large on the bottom. They both have 2 power ports and a pass-through port that is not turned on out the box. You will have to turn it on for both of these pads. In use, this pad feels like an updated version of this pad, as well as adding a footer here. So if you like to rest your wrist, you have that extra space here on the bottom of the NLoFin. This is the version 1 pad. This only uses Gateron switches, but I believe the version 2 uses Gateron and Kailh switches, just like the NLoFin out the box. When it comes to use, they both play just the same. Again, this has the footing here on the bottom, but their spacing feels the same. Their caps are all the same. In use, these two feel right at home. So if you like to be on the go, you can have this one with you. And when you play at home, you have this one, but they both play really nice. Next, we have the DOIO Hitpad Pro, and we can see this controller is shorter by about half the metal heaven adapter. And when it comes to width, you can see they are the exact same width. So if you're looking at these two, they both have small buttons across the body, one large on the bottom. This does have your split layout. This is your standard tighter layout. They both have 2 power ports and a USB pass-through port. Again, these ports are not turned on out the box. You will have to go into the web config and turn them on. This is their V1 model, so it only uses the Gateron switches. This uses both the Gateron and the Kailh V2s. The updated version of this pad, the V2, does use Gateron and Kailh switches as well. So if you're on the fence between these two pads, they're going to feel very similar. Just this will have that nice split layout. This will have that nice tight layout, and they both will feel right at home. Here we have the Hot 42 M Ultra. You can see this pad is roughly taller by the metal heaven adapter, and the M Ultra is wider by 1 adapter. When we compare these side by side, we can see that they both have small buttons across the body, one large on the bottom. Both have 2 power ports and a USB pass-through port. They both have their home row. This pad does come in multiple colors. This comes in your black. They both have the button lights and the base lights. And this pad also has a tournament switch to disable this top row in tournaments. So if you're comparing these two pads, it's really a factor of the brand you want to go with or the color you want to use and the options for switches. If you like Gaterons and Kailhs, you would go with this pad. If you just like Kailhs, you would get this pad. But again, it's really up to you what you think is better. And that's how you would compare these two. So that's the NLoFin ETO1. This controller is really nice. It's very premium, very metal feeling. The bottom is really thick, so it all feels really well put together. Like I said, the sound for me was loud, or for my family, so I went ahead and swapped switches out, and it's great that I could put Kailh V2s and pick whatever switch I like. I went with the Deep Sea Islets. I also recommend the Ghost because both are quiet and have a nice snappy feel. They offer metal keycaps, and their stock keycaps both feel great in use. Getting your keycaps off can be a bit of a challenge because the case sits higher, but taking your time and wedge on the side, you'll be able to get that out nice and smooth. And they do give you the tool to open the case. So as a last resort, don't stress trying to get them off. Just take the case apart, pull the switches out, and put it right back together. If you're a slide player, you're gonna love sliding on this controller. It's very easy to do. It comes with their stock keycaps, but you can also go metal, and you can also buy aftermarket. Out the box, you will have to hold the different buttons to find the start menu to get into the web config and remap all these. You will have to activate your pass-through port, but once you have all that done, everything works great. It feels really heavy and dense and nice premium feel. I think you're really gonna like it in tons of different colors, as well as the 2 power ports to make it last longer. So that's the NLoFin ETO1. Thanks NLoFin for sending this out for review. Thanks for watching.